GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand, presents Galata Plus at the Berlin Film Festival 2024.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
Thank you for this interview, David Hinton and Thelma Schoonmaker. You directed the film and you've executive produced this film. This film is about the films of Michael Powell and Emerick Pressburger. I hope that's enough of an introduction. And it's been picked up by Mubi. That's great news.
Very.
Yeah, so those of us back in India will be able to watch it soon, I hope. So
yeah, great news.
Yeah, and Mubi is where I've been looking for this film for the longest time, The Tales of Hoffman, and Mubi is where I finally caught it. So that's a little anecdote. So now, you know, Matin Scorsese, who has narrated this film and who's pretty much extensively there, now he says that in many films, many interviews, he's talked about the red shoes as being one of his key inspirations. He just keeps talking about the film all the time. Now, if you were to pick a Powell Pressburger film as a personal favorite, probably there are many, but if you were to pick one, which one would that be and why?
I think it has to be The Red Shoes, yeah. I think that's my favourite. Sometimes I think it's a matter of life and death,
okay,
which was Michael's own favourite.
Right.
That's
David Niven.
Yeah, that's David Niven.
Yeah.
It starts with him, the burning bomber. David,
yeah.
He's plunging towards his death and he's falling in love at the same time. I mean, what a fantastic beginning to a movie that is. So it's hard not to name that as my favourite, but I think taken as a whole, I think probably The Red Shoes is for me the most perfect of them.
And why?
Well, there's something very elemental about the story, you know, and the fact that it's about art, you know, and anybody who's interested in having a life in the arts, I think this film is going to be incredibly rich for them. You know, the fact that you've got this classic Svengali-like figure in Lermontov, and then you've got this aspiring artist in Moira Shearer, and then you've got the conflict between art and love. All those elements, you know, are so gripping and so powerful for me. But then you've got this kind of incredible formal audacity that in the middle of this, you know, magnificent triangular story, you suddenly stop and have a ballet.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've done a lot of work with dance in a film. I think there's nothing more beautiful in a film than you know, to film than a human body in motion. So the fact that it has this dance element, and the fact that the dance element is such a kind of formally audacious thing to do in a film, it just thrills me.
Right. And Thelma?
And the thing I want to talk about is it's influenced so many people to become artists. Nick Pileggi, who co-wrote Goodfellas with Scorsese and who's a mafia expert, was living in Brooklyn and trying to become a writer. He saw the movie, he left Brooklyn, moved into New York, and started a great career. Lem Kitai, a wonderful painter, the same thing. He was a merchant seaman or something, saw the movie, stopped being that, and became a great painter. And it just goes on. I can tell you any number of other people. So the film really influenced artists to become artists. And that, of course, is what I think both filmmakers had in mind.
And would you name that as your favorite Powell Pressburger film as well?
No, my favorite is Life and Death of Colonel Blimp.
Okay, and why?
Yeah. It's so profoundly moving and sad, but at the same time, beautiful. I don't know, I saw it when I was 15, never knowing that I would marry the man who made it. But I really can't quite express it, as you can tell, what it is that's so powerful for me in it.
For me, it is Black Narcissus. One, because of the Technicolor. I'd never seen anything like it till I saw that. Two, because of the Indian setting. And three, because of the wonderful way the melodrama was handled. I just love that film. So I'm, you know.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, no, that's a good choice.
No, that was your favorites, right? Now, we're talking about a Gen Z now, who've probably never seen a Powell Pressburger film. So if you were to tell them, watch this film so that you can enter that world, which film would you pick? Which film do you think is instantly gettable today?
That's a tough one. What do you think?
Well, one thing we've been talking about a lot today, you know, one thing that's fantastic is that, you know, they recently had a Powell Pressburger season at the National Film Theatre in London, and loads of young people went there. You know, so clearly these films are already talking to a younger generation.
Right.
But again, I would go for the Red Shoes. You know,
Yeah.
well, because you know, I don't see how anybody can resist the charm and the drama of it.
Right.
And the fact that it's about the process of making art.
Right.
You know, so anybody who's interested in working in the arts, I think is going to be gripped by this film. You know,
Right.
or anybody who is interested in just how art is made.
Right.
You know, the agony and the ecstasy of making something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that would be my first choice for young people to see. Yeah.
Probably because there's also, they've probably seen The Black Swan. And
Yes,
maybe
yeah.
that's a little leap,
Yeah.
you know, that'll help the same kind of ballet atmosphere and things like that.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
No,
but,
I'm saying, you know, which one would you pick for the today's generation to
Oh,
get into?
well, I think based on Scorsese's feelings and David's, I think they're right. That is the one that is the most going to guide them into what it's like to be an artist.
Right, right.
And because, you know, it's a big gamble sometimes. It's very hard on your personal life, and sometimes you make a masterpiece and it is not recognized, like Michael did with Peeping Tom. It can be dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
We can
actually-
tell from history that this film gets across to young people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because there was a whole generation of young women who wanted to become ballet dancers
Yeah.
because they saw the Red Shoes when they were 10 years old or 12 years old. So it's a film that appeals across the generations and internationally. Because,
Yeah.
you know, the great thing about dance is it's not language, you know, so it communicates worldwide.
Yeah.
And I think that gives it this kind of very universal appeal.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Peeping Tom because that's a personal favorite. And, you know, I think that movie, even though it's not technically a Powell Pressburger film, you know, I would think something like that would appeal more to an audience of today simply because the theme of slasher, you know, killer, that kind of is still a little more gettable. I mean, that's just my feeling, but that's an all-time great film, Peeping Tom. It's just a magnificent
But
film.
that was really ahead of its time.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's the thing about that one.
Yeah, especially the way
You
it
know,
used the
it
camera.
wasn't understood when
Yeah,
it came out.
yeah,
But then, you know, now 40 years later, it makes complete sense. You know.
But ballet dancers still today, and I know a lot of them, still think The Red Shoes is the best movie ever made about
Yeah,
ballet.
yeah.
And it's very honest, you know.
yeah.
Homosexuals, and it's very, very strong.
Now, you've worked with Matin Scorsese for so long. If you were to pick one film that honors his reverence of this duo's, you know, impact on his career, which film would that be?
Of the Powell Pressburger
Powell
films. Well, he would say, first of all, Red Shoes.
Really, because this is a Red Shoes
But
celebration.
he loves them all, and so he
No, which
loves
film
Hoffman.
of his do you
Oh,
think
of his.
shows is most is
Most
closest to-
influence
Yeah.
from this?
Yeah.
Well, Raging Bull, but almost all of them have a little.
Why would you say Raging Bull?
Because it's about a character who is seemingly too difficult
Okay.
and violent, and yet he makes you care for him, and that's what happened in Peeping Tom.
Right.
Actually, it happens in all his films, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think Scorsese would instantly say Red
Red
Shoes.
Okay, right, right. And in a way, a boxer is also an artist, a performer. You know, he is kind of.
Yeah.
Well, also, it has this physicality about it.
Yeah.
You know, well, Scorsese makes the point in our documentary, you know, that you can regard the boxing in Raging Bull as a choreography, as a way of, you know, physical movement like the ballet and the Red Shoes.
yeah.
And the way the ballet was shot in the Red Shoes influenced the way he shot the boxing in Raging Bull.
Right,
So there's a
right.
very direct connection there.
Yeah. And finally, now in their company's manifesto, that is the Archers, there is this lovely line, no artist believes in escapism, and we secretly believe that no audience does. I'd like you both to just talk about that
You talk
line.
about it.
Yeah, well, I love that manifesto. Yeah, it's full of beautiful thoughts. But my reaction to that line is, you know, it sums up a huge amount of what I like about Powell and Pressburger, which is that they're just incredibly ambitious for cinema as an art. You know, they don't think of it as just an entertainment medium, and they don't just think of it as a money-making medium. They're idealistic and they're romantic in the way that they think about films.
Yeah.
You know,
Emotional, yeah, emotional.
but they're able to do that and at the same time communicate with audiences. And, you know, to me, this is a huge part of the power of what they do. So, to me, that line, when it says, you know, a true artist doesn't believe in escapism, they're saying we want to make movies that are about something that matters.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just trying to kind of present you with fluff. And that's why their films have power.
Yeah.
And that's why they last.
That's why they last.
Yeah.
And that's why a film like a documentary like this has been immediately picked up for worldwide screening because, you know, like you said, it's still so relevant in so many ways. But after they split, do you think they still maintained influences of each other in their individual work?
Well, their friendship definitely sustained right to the end, yes. I think they were sort of going different ways towards the end, but their love for each other never stopped.
Right.
Well, even after the partnership broke up, they did actually still work together. So that when Michael made a film, a comedy in Australia called They're a Weird Mob, you know, he called Emerick in to rewrite the script because, you know, he didn't like the way that someone else had done it.
Right.
And the two of them ended up making a small children's film very late in their careers, you know. So they obviously still were very happy working together.
The boy in the yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there was always this wonderful friendship and this wonderful artistic rapport between them, even when they went their separate ways.
It's always interesting when a collaboration that's really close for so long suddenly splits up, you know, and there could be any number of reasons. And usually the reason is ego that you hear about. But here that was not the case. That was not you know, like whose contribution was more or less, or that was not the
And it
case.
was a very bad time for the British film industry. Americans were refusing to take their product and bombarding them with movies that they made. So it was a bad time.
Right.
And that meant that as their ideas started to drift different directions, it was not easy.
It was not easy, right? Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
all the best for the Oscars.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Does it ever get old, getting nominated? Are you still biting your nails? Are you excited?
Well, I mean, we don't do so well at the Oscars, so that's because our films, I think, are too different, you know, and which we love, and we don't make them for the Oscars. But you know, we've been through it quite a bit with 10 or 9 nominations for each film, and we don't win a lot of them.
Yeah, but the films.
But that's not why we make them. And,
Yeah. And I'm, you know, like 50 years from now, there's going to be a documentary made about, you know, made in wherever.
Yeah.
Made in hell.
Right.
Made in Hell's
right.
Kitchen. You know, the films of Matin Scorsese and Thelma Schoonmaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope this movie is seen in India a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand, presents Galata Plus at the Berlin Film Festival 2024.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.